On the backside of every sunset is a sunrise. As you watch the sunset, can you be grateful for what was and excited for what will be? The last. It sounds so final, like it's the end. And we've been trained to dislike the end. Culturally, we have been conditioned to feel sadness at the end. As parents, the biggest last is senior year. That's when it really hits us. No, it's not the end. No, we're not finishing being their mom, but it does signify an end to what we know, an end to being the type of parent that we know how to be. My oldest starts his senior year in a couple of weeks. His senior season of football officially kicked off last night. So now we're entering the last, everything. It's the countdown. I've watched it with others. The last game, the last dance, the last class, the countdown to graduation. And I don't want to do it. Not that way. I want to enjoy it. I cannot do that it's the last this or it's the last that. I don't think that I can torture myself that way. I remember feeling all of the sad, this is the lasts when he went off to school and ended the baby part of our life. Or this is the last when he finished up the 8th grade and was ending the kid part of our life. And now I look at those and I can see that those ends were only the beginning of the wonderful parts of his life. The sadness was selfish of me. I was the one who had something to lose. He only had things to gain. There was so much more for him here than there was there. And for me, it's scary because yes, I had to become a different parent. I had to give up what I knew. Yes, it is right now different than the previous parts, but it's just as special. I didn't actually lose anything. I didn't lose him. And all I did was gain other things. I loved every second of those years, but I don't want to go back. I'm happy here. I may not be able to avoid noting when something is the last, yes, but I can reframe my perspective on the end. Yes, the sun is setting on this, but on the backside of every sunset is a sunrise. And when we take time to sit and enjoy a sunset, we're not going to say it's the last light of the day, like it's sad. No, we sit and just admire the sunset as the most beautiful part of the day. It's a time to sit and think about all of the good and maybe even the not so good things that happened during the day with the gratitude that we made it to see this beautiful sunset. Tomorrow will be different. Yes. And no, we don't know what it will bring. But that doesn't mean we sit at sunset and feel sadness. We feel gratitude. It's a time to be grateful and hopeful about the mere possibility of tomorrow's sunrise and excited about the gorgeous day it will bring. So instead of being sad and torturing ourselves with the finality of this last, we can look at it with gratitude that it happened, contentment in the moment, and excitement for what's on the other side. Now, I know so many of you are on the front side of this. You're just starting these teen years, watching your babies brave middle school for the very first time, or like my youngest this year, maybe yours are just starting out on their high school journeys. Well, with school starting up, I thought it was a good time to revisit what I learned about parenting from the years we spent in middle school, just in case you missed it the first time. Hey guys, it's Jen. This is another episode of Reframing Me. I saw a meme the other day that said, yes, you might miss the baby stage, perhaps the 4-year-old little voice stage, maybe the getting ready to launch senior stage. But hear this, you will not miss 8th grade. I will not, we will not, humanity will not. We will bid it adieu, farewell, and bye to all the Felicias. Now, those of you who have been on this journey with me for a minute know that I feel that deep in my soul. I cannot say goodbye to the 8th grade with my youngest fast enough.
I have told all of my kids at some point that there is a reason that if you ask adults, they will probably maybe want to go back to their 20s or college or high school, but no one will ever tell you that they wish they could go back to middle school. No one. And most people will probably say, you couldn't pay me to go to middle school again. To be honest, I think a part of why I can say right now that I wouldn't want to go back to when the kids were younger is because I know that I would need to do middle school again, and I just can't. Nope, cannot. However, we are going to have one last conversation about middle school today. I have spent the last 6 consecutive years with at least one, if not 2 kids at a time in middle school. 2 boys, 1 girl, all entirely different personalities. So I think that I can definitely label myself a professional in this particular area. Now, today, we are going to have a conversation about the 20 things that I learned about how to parent in middle school. And to be honest, I think that many, if not almost all, not all, but many, if not all, of these carry on through high school. But I'm only through the 11th grade with 1 right now, so I still retain my amateur parenting status in high school. So I cannot speak to the accuracy that they all hold as an expert just yet. I will say, though, that so far, yeah, they pretty much almost do. Okay, now, take and do with these as you please. They are in no particular order beyond as they popped into my head. File them away in your tool belts and pull them out as needed, as you think are fit. Share them with others or just leave them there for a later date. Okay, first, don't get involved. There will be drama. Oh, Lord, will there be drama. I think I was somewhat prepared for this with a girl, but to be honest, the drama was not all that much less, and honestly, probably in some ways equal, if not more, with the boys. It's going to be there. But no matter how tempted you are, don't let yourself get involved. Don't call the mom, don't talk to the child, don't email the teacher. You'll be able to tell when it's drama versus when it's an actual issue that needs your attention. So just take a beat and wait it out before you get involved, because 9 out of 10 times, it is not an actual problem. It truly is just what can only be defined as drama. Now, to them, it's of course a huge deal. And you will need to find the balance between feeding into it and being dismissive of it. But trust me, 90% of it will blow over and your involvement will only make it worse. Second, however, and this ties into it, never dismiss their feelings. Let them feel all of it, all of the feelings. No matter how silly or trivial it is and how dramatic they're being, to them, it is huge because really in their little life and their tiny frame of reference at that moment, it is. So don't tell them, or really don't even think it, because somehow when we think these things, the mere thought comes across to them. So don't tell them, I know how you feel. To which they will most likely respond, no, you don't. How could you possibly know how I would feel? You're so old and you don't know anything about how I feel. I'm not wrong, right? And dear Lord, don't say when I was your age, because then you'll get, it's not like it was back in the olden days. Back in the 1900s, it was different. And as much as that stings, I mean, really, do we need to refer to it as the 1900s? Why not just slap me across the face instead? Anyway, it doesn't help, like ever. Third, don't be shocked. Don't let them shock you. They're hearing things and learning things and even often repeating things that they don't really even understand. Sometimes they are looking for clarity from you. Sometimes they're looking to show you how cool or how grown up they are. Look at what I can say. Look at what I know. And sometimes, yes, they are just looking to see if they can shock you. Don't let them. Fourth, make time for things that are important or special to them. Whether it's listening to them talk about a video game or watching a TikTok that they think is funny or going to their game or their performance or on their field trip, they may seem like they don't need you. And really, that may be because they're actually saying, I don't need you, but they do. They need you to pay attention to them. They want you to pay attention to them. They want you to do it a lot more than they're ever going to let you know that they want it. Fifth, you need to start loosening the reins a bit. I know it's hard. Trust me. I held on for dear life with my oldest, but they do need a bit of freedom. You can't just wait until they're a certain age and then just let them go. You need to start loosening up a bit at a time. I believe that this is why you see such a distinct difference in how you parent your first versus your last. It's not that you've stopped caring. It's that you've realized how you should have done it the first time. Sixth, keep them involved. What's that old saying? Something about idle hands or idle minds or whatever. Okay, well, idle teens are the most problematic of them all. And even if you think your uninvolved kid won't get into trouble, well, uninvolved kids tend to hang out with other uninvolved kids, just like involved kids tend to hang out with other involved kids. That's not a coincidence. It's similarity attraction theory. So maybe you think yours won't. Okay, fine. Let's go with that. But can you say the same about the other kids? Groups of teens with nothing but time are never a good combination. Help them find their niche, their group, their thing, whether it's sports or cheer or music or dance or writing or poetry or whatever. Get them involved. Fill their time with something productive. Seventh, yes, I just said fill their time with something productive, but let them have their downtime. They need to recharge and refresh. We do too, right? But oftentimes we don't get it. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't get it either. It just means that we should get it too. And they're growing, and they're not fully developed yet. They need rest. Recognize that there is a difference between being lazy and recharging. Eighth, know their friends. Know the people that they hang out with and the others even in their life. Know about them, whether they're their classmates or crushes or enemies or whatever. Learn about them. Be interested. Even if it feels sometimes like you need a roster or a cast of characters, it will A, let them know that you are interested, and B, let them know that you're watching and paying attention. Ninth, and relatedly, recognize that yes, you may embarrass them just for being alive and breathing, but that doesn't give you carte blanche to intentionally embarrass them. And do middle schoolers embarrass easily? But the more you do so, the less they will want you to be around. And trust me, you want to be around. So while it may seem harmless to embarrass them by having the mom who screams loudest in the stands or who yells, I love you, my little sugar bug, out the window if they won't give you a hug, or who thinks it's funny to dance in the pickup line or whatever else they say is embarrassing, and you say, too bad, it's how I am, that's the kind of mom you have, it may not be as harmless long-term as you think it is. 10th, in middle school, and I must clarify here, middle school, because this is the one that most definitely changes in high school. In middle school, grades are not as important as the effort that they demonstrate and the habits that they create. Middle school is when you want to establish a love for learning. You want to teach them organizational skills and build the study habits that they will carry with them into high school. Don't let yourself get so focused on the grade that you miss out on the bigger picture. It might even lead you to start helicoptering them, and you cannot do that forever. If you guide them at this point and help them to build these other aspects, the grades will come. And they'll come in high school and such when they actually do really matter. 11th, don't take things personally. I know that that is so much easier said than done sometimes. I distinctly remember one time when my daughter was younger, I would like to say a lot younger, but I don't know how much younger it was than middle school. But anyways, she was mad at me about something, and she looked at me and said, and you don't even look pretty in that dress. Whoa, That is way harsh, Ty. It's hard to not take that one personally. But whether it's simple things like that or lashing out at you or disobedience, don't take it personally. Once you do, it sets off a whole additional spiral that will not make things better. Remember when we said in a prior episode to practice the pause? Well, practice the pause. Then deal with the issue. But when you do, still don't take it personally. 12th, and relatedly, pick your battles. If you fight over everything that can be fought about, well, you won't have much time for anything else. So think about what really matters and what doesn't. And then you should probably even think again, because there are so few things that are actually and truly worth fighting over. And if you do pick and choose, then the ones you actually do pick will stand out as being more important. Lucky number 13, don't assume. Don't make assumptions. Don't assume that they know things. Did you teach them that? Do they have a reason to know that? Do they have the fully developed brain to even come up with that? Explain and clarify. Don't just get annoyed or angry. That doesn't help. Explain. Don't assume that you know what they mean or what they feel or what they think. Ask them. So many issues could be cleared up if we just asked more questions and didn't assume that we knew everything. Number 14, don't judge. Not their clothes or their hair or their friends or their room or their crush or their interests. Let them be their own person. And be respectful of the person who they are at that particular moment, because chances are that person or style or friend or whatever is fleeting. But the respect that you show them by not judging them, it will show up in the respect that they show you back and the respect that they show others. Number 15, you need to treat them differently than you've treated them in the past. They're growing up. So treat them like they're growing up. No, they are by no means adults, but they are also not little kids anymore. So you need to find a middle ground. Number 16, let them have a phone and social media. I know I have been on my soapbox about this one before with y'all, so I will keep it brief. You're not going to just hand them a driver's license at 16 and say, don't do anything stupid, without teaching them how to drive. You cannot just wait until there's some magic age, hand them social media or a phone and say, don't do anything stupid. No, you need to teach them how to use it responsibly. It is a lot easier to look over their shoulder, read their text, keep their phone at night, see what they're doing. Basically, hold their hands and teach them. It's a lot easier to have this oversight when they're 12 than when they're 16. Number 17, model good behavior. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to be rude. They're going to be emotional. They're going to hurt your feelings or be entitled. Again, practice the pause. Be the grown-up. Realize that you are modeling behavior for them. It might be hard to take that look, but the behavior you see in them is very often a learned behavior. Nothing is more difficult than taking that long, hard look at ourselves. Is what your teen doing bothering you so much because you do it too? Often the behaviors that we dislike most in others are the ones we dislike most in ourselves. And if it's not modeled after you, so what? Taking the pause won't hurt anything. It will just give you the beat you may need to compose yourself and handle the situation in a way that they then can model. Number 18, don't let them get to you. Realize that oftentimes their behavior is more reflective of how they feel inside. Happy people aren't mean people. Change your approach and your tone from anger to how can I help you? It will take you much farther. Number 19, give them space. I cannot tell you how often I hear from parents of young teens. Is it normal that she's in her room all the time or something comparable? Yes, it is so normal. They're thinking. They are figuring out who they are. They are realizing that they are their own person and they need their own space to do this. You may need to go back to don't take it personally, but understand that the space that they need is about them and not about you. This space may be physical space, like their room, or mental space, like zoning out with a YouTube video after school, but they need some space. Number 20. Now, if you have been around for a minute, I'm guessing that you may already know what I'm going to say here because it is my answer for everything. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Talk with them. Let them know that they can talk with you. Share with them. Let them know that they can share with you. Sometimes the conversations, yes, will be one-sided. Just stay the course because you never know when they'll open up. Text them. Maybe that works better. Maybe they'll open up more that way. But keep a continuous, casual line of communication open. Every conversation doesn't need to be earth-shattering, and every text doesn't need to be important. Just keep communicating. Now is the time to lay the foundation for your future relationship. You know how you're sad for the end? Well, set yourself up for a good relationship in that next stage, because on the other side of every sunset is a sunrise. So just enjoy the beautiful sunset with gratitude with what was and excitement at what is to come. Thank you so much for listening. Please remember to follow the show so that you don't miss out on any new content. And please share it with your friends who might also benefit from or enjoy the show. That's how we will grow our community. Reach out to me on socials, on Instagram and TikTok at Reframing Me. And on Facebook, it's Reframing Me. And join the Facebook group, Reframing Me, the podcast community, to connect with other women who are also raising teens and rediscovering themselves. Until next time, be well, communicate, and enjoy the sunset.